with our upper and lower body for the most part completed, let's start working on the arms. We'll start by working on our shoulder, so we can even work on creating the control. And for the control, we could just take this hip, duplicate the hip control, okay, find it within our outliner, and once we do that, open it up because we're going to need to delete those extra bones, so we don't want those moving along with it. Now with them now selected, we can go ahead and move it. Let's say we snap it to the shoulder, so with them selected, just hold V and snap. Okay, and if we need to, we can template our character so we don't snap to his back or anything, but right to our shoulder bone right here. Now that that is snapped, from here we can go to our verts, scale in the control, okay, give it a little bit more of an interesting design. Let me scale it out to more, widen it. Then we can go into a front view and just fix up its design a little bit more. Okay, so taking these outer verts possibly and bringing those out. Maybe even taking everything else in, bringing those in some more. Doesn't need to be too much. I won't spend too much time with this anymore. That should be fine. That should suffice. So we'll select the verts now, and we can now move them out because we want to make sure that they're going to be easier to select. So move them out, roll them over so that it's almost following the contour as or the direction as the collar here. It's about there, I think, would be fine. So once we've established a position for it, we can come out of component mode and freeze its transforms. Now we can't just hit freeze transform because we've gotten rid of scale. So one thing we can do is go to modify, freeze transforms, turn off the rotation and scale, and hit apply to clean that up. Okay, now from here we can close this out, give it a name. We'll call it CC underscore L for left side underscore, and just abbreviate shoulder 01. Okay, nothing much to it. And since we're only going to be rotating this control, what we can also do is actually get rid of the translate. But one thing I'd also like to do is bring back its scale X. Only reason why is so we can mirror it easily over to the opposite side and then freeze transformations. So with it selected, we can right click and go down to our channel controls under editors, or again you could go to Windows, general editors, and go to the channel control. From there we'll go ahead and make this a little bit easier on us. Bring back all of the scales, unlock, okay, duplicate this control, snap it to the opposite shoulder, the right side, go to its scale X, and put in a -1 to flip it. Now we could select both, or actually just one. We just really need to select one and freeze its transformations, not center its pivot, just freeze its transformations. And of course we need to also freeze its scale, so we could go back to modify, freeze transformations, check scale, and hit apply. Great, so now that that's done, we could select both controls again, or what will soon be controls, get rid of our translates, and also get rid of our scales. Right click, go to lock and hide. Now that this is done, we are ready to go ahead and color code these. So the left, again, we can use blue. We'll go ahead and go under display. We'll go under drawing overrides, and let's pick another blue, the blue we've been using for the left side. So we'll find that, there it is. And then for the right, we can go ahead and choose that color of red that we've been using. Okay, we do want to make sure that we'll label these correctly, so we just need to switch this name for the right shoulder, nothing much to that. And these are going to be parented underneath our chest, so they'll move along as needed. So we can just select them and fix their parenting. So again, we select the shoulders first, followed by the chest, and hit P. Great. So now going back to our perspective, we need to have the shoulders control the shoulder bone. So let's do that. With the shoulder piece selected, let's start with the left. We'll shift select our shoulder bone, and go up to constrain and do an O-ring constraint. Great. Now we'll do the same for the right shoulder. Select the control first, followed by the actual shoulder bone, and hit G to repeat the tool. We could test it out. Okay, wonderful. Everything's moving just fine. Alright, great. Now with this done, of course we need it to control our arm here, our character's arm. So what we'll go ahead and do prior to making that connection is go ahead and set up our IK for the arm. So let's go ahead and do that. We will, with the left arm selected, just go to our outliner and hit F just to frame up our left arm. And we could even open that up so we can get to what we need to connect our IK for the arm. So that's going to be L arm all the way to L twist, and then we'll need to fix its pivot so that it'll be aligned with our wrist. So let's work on that. With the arm selected, we can go to our IK handle. Remember, a regular default IK handle. Select our left bone and control click our left twist to apply the IK handle. Great. Now that that has been applied, with the IK handle now there, we can call it RP_L_arm01. And again, we want to be careful how we name everything, just so that when it comes time to stretching our arms, we'll be able to use a similar code as what we use for the legs. So with this selected, now we need to make sure that its effector is aligned with our wrist. So how can we do that? Well, what we can do is go back to our hypershade, and we'll show its input-output connection so we can get right to its effector. With the effector selected, in order to move it where we need it to, we will need to use insert mode or go to our pivot mode. So with it selected and viewing our move tool, we'll hit insert, and let's go ahead and snap it right to the wrist. So we'll hold V and snap, and then hit insert again, okay, to fix that, or to come out of our pivot mode. And from now if we go to our arm, we can even close out our hypershade now, but if we go to the arm and move it, notice it's going to move our arm just the way we need it to. Great. So now that we have our IK set up, what we'll do is go ahead and set up our shoulder. We can do that now so that its shoulder end bone will be connected to the arm as we'd like it to be. So with the shoulder end bone selected, or shoulder bone selected that is, we could hit the down arrow so we can get to its end bone, and then hit F to find it. Now what we'll be connecting to here is basically this shoulder end bone. We'll want to have a point constraint relationship with our arm bone so that we'll get the most amount of control out of our shoulder. What this is going to do for us is allow us to move our shoulder while pretty much keeping our arm where it's at, rather than having it control the whole arm. Okay, so we'll get some nice functionality out of it. It'll control the shoulder as it should. So in order to set that up, let's go ahead and select our shoulder end bone, followed by our control clicking our bone for the start joint of the arm, and we'll go to constraint and do a point constraint. So now watch what happens when we select our shoulder and move it around. Notice it's going to control the arm just as we need to. Notice the functionality we're going to be able to get. This is going to be really nice. We can even check that out. Go into our scene. Alright, great. So now that this has been done, let's say we go ahead and stop the lesson here, and in the next lesson we'll continue the setup of our arm.